That's what I meant. Is I was gonna ding you and say um let's farm, but I did. Let's see. I gotta because I keep leaving your farm. I gotta join it.
Yeah. Yep.
Remind me to just either just shut down or whatever.
Did you have to download stuff today?
Yeah, some tractor pack or what?
Well, no, not it was an update.
Or oh, okay. Oh, what the heck? Oh, okay.
We already had the tractor in here because it was the Magnum tractor, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there was something I needed to do. Okay, let's see. Got another planter or something or
no,
oh.
we are fertilizing.
Oh, okay. So we're done. Oh, you got done planting that other night.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. Wait a minute.
I took all of our planters and I I hired somebody on your two and I ran mine
Okay. Have
and
you done
I
this
finished it.
Have you done this upper field
No, the
part?
this bottom field's the
I
only
see
one
you
that I've
down
done
there.
so
I
far.
mean, I guess. Okay.
And it's going pretty fast, so
Okay.
I mean I've only been doing this one well, I guess I've been doing this one 40 minutes, but this one's a little bit bigger.
I don't have access. Well, I don't know. It doesn't like me up here.
Hold on.
Don't have access to this. Oh, there. I don't know. I must have been too close to the edge or something.
Yeah.
I was like but I was in the part of the field. Maybe it just wasn't loaded in. Working now. Well, anyway, I was worked there. Well, one of these. Okay, I guess I'll start at the beginning. You getting that cheap RC for Derek, or sending it to me to fix
Yeah.
up for Derek. Do a
Yep.
customization. Um, got me kind of just casual at that time, casually looking into them, and I'm like, oh, okay. There's these, all these kinds, from a like those cheap ones. That one was about whatever $60 or something. To obviously you can spend hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars on
Yep.
you know
Depending on what you get.
yeah, depending on
Yep.
what you're getting and all that. But so anyway, I subscribed or started watching a couple of channels dedicated to it where they do more custom stuff because obviously that's oh I know why it wouldn't let me. I was on the very corner. I guess it doesn't let the fertilizer. We don't own the land right on the corner. Okay. Anyway, I started watching this channel that does more into the customization, like you know things like uh taking like 1/24th or 1/25th scale, like plastic model bodies and putting them on chassis, so make your own cars, not just
Yeah.
and such, and customize them or make them run better or whatever. Well, anyway, it's called Make It RC, and they actually have a web store. You like 3D prints things, whatever. But anyway, I subscribed, and this new model, that green looking, what looks like a 40 something Ford, late 40s Ford pickup, popped in. He did a review and such, and I looked up, and it was about the same. Basically the same price, about $10 less. that Chevy C10, which really kind of caught my eye. I kind of like the square body Chevys and such. Well, anyway, got me to thinking about things, and that's why well, and then I started looking up that site because, like I said, this is the second or third, well, no, fourth, because the one you were saying, kind of Mad Max like looking
Yep.
deal.
Well,
That's by
I think it'd be a good starter for it,
well, yeah,
you
a
know.
platform, but you
Just
know
something to build off of, yep.
exactly. And he had reviewed that one and reviewed it well. And this by this quote brand, FMS is the brand, but I think other brands kind of use that tooling, but they're all subtly different. It's kind of like that one that you bought for Derek, um, but this is a little higher quality than that one, Derek. A little
Yeah.
more finer controls and
Well,
such.
it should be if it's twice as much.
Yeah, but even then, that's just beginning into the like entry level hobby grade. But anyhow, um, so he reviewed it and basically said, "Well, this is built on the same chassis as this other one, and I really like that for a, you know, get you hobby. It's a good platform. Then if you want to get different wheels, tires, shocks, motors, all that stuff, just bolts in. Better, faster, slower, more torque, whatever you're trying to do."
Yeah.
So I started looking at it, and it, like I said, is 137 or something, or something like that. And I guess, you know, I consider that pretty cheap considering the performance, because that's the thing. At $60, you're getting what you pay for. Like the steering is just all or nothing either way, not proportional. Where this
Yeah.
is like has proportional steering and has like you can throttle it, and you know where Derek's is kind of all or nothing a little bit on the even on the acceleration and stuff. There's not much granular control, which these have a little bit more like granular control, so you can like slowly crawl things, or make them kind of drive at more of a scale speed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so um got me to thinking. That I started looking it up and saw the K5 Blazer, and it comes in a black version, but it also converts to a pickup, and it just made me think of you. It's like, there we go. And then it's advertised as, I think, 124 scale, but they're a little bigger than that. They're not quite like real 124 in RC. It's what I guess from watching this guy. No, they're actually a little bit bigger than that. But then I was like, I remember they had the 400EX toys, die-cast toys, and it's like, what,
Yeah.
that probably look almost about the right size in the back of the bed of that thing, you know.
Yeah.
So and again, I was looking up the other one, and I don't know, I almost just went to Amazon and hit buy it now, because it's like, so I could I got idea for kind of customizing it. And again, I got the yard to kind of, I could make roads, and well, the kids already make roads, but
Yeah.
you know
Yep.
I got the area to kind of make my own trails. And then of course, I got just go right up to the foothills and on the walking trails, and do that would be kind of fun too. So I don't know, but made me think. But yeah, that one that you like for a basis of Mad Max, yeah, it reviewed very well, as far as like it's a more of a crawler. Like could actually do some more like extreme stuff for an RC, versus like those ones that are more realistic looking. They're gonna have their own limitations on what you're gonna go over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's not super cheap, but then it's not terrible expensive. When I look at other ones, they're like, like $300 and $400. Now, granted, they're like larger, and of course, gonna be more
Well, and those
durable.
are
They're gonna be
like,
like they're gonna be more akin to like your T Max. They're made for like really heavy use.
well, and they're also like the the people that are gonna get those are really into RC rock crawling.
Exactly. And where I just want to mess around my yard, or take it somewhere, like kids are playing the playground or something, and I can crawl around or just mess around and, buy a couple. I was looking up, like extra batteries. They're like $10.
Yeah,
So like it's, well, even like Derek's, honestly, I had a hell of a lot of fun just a little bit messing around in the yard after I got it done to kind of make a little video and well, make sure it was working right, because again, that one connection was not soldered correctly, um uh, right out of the box, or it broke off just in handling it. I had to fix that, so I was making sure everything else worked. And we
yeah,
sent it off to him, but I mean, that's kind of what you're going to expect for that at that price point. But I mean, that's
yeah.
the thing. Even at that price point, um, again, I think it got almost 30 minutes of runtime out of it, and on the battery that comes with it, and again, the steering was kind of an all or nothing. The controller felt really cheap, but I mean, it worked, and it was kind of, I mean, it was fun to just think around like what I did in the yard there. So I was like, okay, well, I could justify spending a little bit more just because, um, get a little more quality, a little more realistic action that I
Yeah,
could customize, because I had a lot of fun customizing his. It turned
yeah,
out, for what we were going for, it turned out really pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
And I like the larger scale, because like at that scale, like I could buy like dollhouse furniture accessories, and
Uh,
they're basically the right scale for it. Because
yeah,
that's what I had. I did the Mountain Dew cans and stuff. Is that was like in the dollhouse section at Hobby Lobby. They have that kind of stuff,
yeah,
doing. I don't know. I'm a stickler for it. Yeah, so it was kind of getting me thinking. It's like, summer, and of course, Tucker's old enough he could kind of drive it and such, and have fun with it. Well, and make a hitch, because he's got, his toys out there, and he's got some trailers and things that are pretty much the
well,
right
and they even
scale.
they even make RC off-road
Oh,
trailers
I
for
know,
those
I
rock
know.
crawlers too.
I let's see, are we finished with fertilizer?
With this one,
Well, this
we
field,
got
that's what
three
I'm.
more to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got the. I was gonna do the crazy one next.
Oh, across the way, not just up the hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was
but
gonna do them in the order we planted, which I don't know if you remember or not, but
I don't either.
and
Just
we
how
own
the hell
that
did you
corner
get
now.
up there that fast?
Well,
But
these are the JCBs.
yeah, I know, but mine, I was going full bore.
It just shifted and went. It didn't do anything different. I don't.
Guess so. Start on.
Well, and I've been watching a few that I've had. Actually, a couple of them. Some of them were on those mini, like the Kyosho Jeeps rock crawlers.
Yeah.
but then there was a couple of them. I have this, and I bought it. I haven't, and it's another one. Like I've got so many RCs to do if I was gonna do all the videos on them,
Yeah.
but they're all electric, so it's like I guess they'll wait until I can get there or whatnot. But this one I bought has dual motors in it,
Huh.
and and I was watching the I watch this one RC group. Um, they're probably my favorite out of them all. It's a husband and wife team, but they they've kind of lately been switching to just boats and airplanes. Haven't seen them do so many trucks lately. But
Yeah.
anyways, I was watching them, and then I had watched others because I kind of was I was interested in it just because it was like it was weird. It was like $100, and it's got twin motors in it, and I was like, well, that's kind of different. And I wanted to see how it runs and everything. It looks like looks like it runs pretty good. So
Yeah. Well,
that's it. That's what I guess what I did. If I've been and I really anymore really watch for him. If there's something kind of different about them that make him kind of unique, then I'm kind of interested in them anymore. But there's a lot of them. They pretty much just look like the same truck over and over and over again. They might just have a different body on them,
yeah.
and those are it. Sometimes it takes a little bit to look at them to realize it's like, oh, well, they just changed the color of the shocks and color of the body. That's pretty much. So I've been kind of staying away from those, but
Yeah.
I do have when I was really into buying them there because I thought I was just going to go crazy on the YouTube thing. I did pick up it. I do have an Emax stuck away in there, and
Hmm.
I do have there was another oh, it's called the Traxxas Stampede, but I don't have the 4-wheel drive version of it. It's basically just a 2-wheel drive Emax, sort of. It's as big as one of the like it's as big as my T Max, but it's
Yeah.
only a 2-wheel drive.
That might be
I got some of that.
fun
I
for
got some.
like sand or something all where you got go like all out, gravel or whatever.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
guess what's kind of got me a little hooked into it, or and I just haven't pulled the trigger because it's like every time I go to just hit like add to cart, I'm like, do I really need this? I could this
Well,
this money
that's
could
where
go this money
I've
could
gotten
go
to
to
lately.
other things. But it's like I'd make a video of customizing it, and I'm kind of into and that's why I've been looking at these like FMS or Rock Hobby or whatever. It's FMS is the brand, but it's mostly because it's like um uh I guess I'm into the uh here I'm gonna turn and pick up where you left off.
Well, some. Oh well,
Or I'm gonna turn around see if you can get the
I probably can't. That's too. But I'll
site.
get it.
Okay, wait, well when we get back around. Um, but I guess when I looked at like what's out there for more like the scale model type RC, I was like, oh, I kind of didn't know that, a ready to run sort of off the shelf stuff kind of existed. I thought if you wanted to make something that looked really realistic, it's like, okay, you had to basically build your own body or find a chassis and then find a model kit that would and kind of cut and hack and make it what you want, to make what you want. Well, there's some of these that are like, oh, well, this is basically what I want. Now I just need to, do my weathering tricks, and I can kind of make a realistic looking whatever. Uh, but like this Make It RC, for example, he just had a video out a couple weeks back now. Um, uh, built a Knight Rider replica out of a plastic model, and he's using
Was
a
he the one that built the Dukes of
yeah,
Hazard
yep,
in
generally, yep. Yeah,
generally just
he's
so that he could recreate
yeah,
jumps.
and he's still working on like making scale like fences, breakaway fences and stuff to run into and getting the jumps down. But yes, it's the same guy. Um, yeah, and so he made a kit or Knight Rider and has the front light and it made it really worthy. I mean, even with interior too, um, as well, and looks really good. And then he's done other like you know Camaros, Mustangs, whatever that like the chassis he's used, which is his own design, and you can buy it as a kit and build it and to use with a lot of those kind of scaled bodies, like buy a model kit either new or out of print, and something like a Camaro or Firebird or certain Mustang kits would kind of fit it with a little bit of modification. And anyway, but he's got it so you can put in motors and suspension so they actually perform and drive. You know, they look realistic going by, and you can drift them and stuff like that. That's what he did with the Duke's car, is trying to get it so it flies right, and you can do some power slides and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, which again, like I said, I I knew that sort of existed, but I didn't realize that there was such an aftermarket all around it. And I should have known, because it's like it's the internet, without figure out anything. But I didn't realize how easy some of it would be with the skills I already have for like model building. So that's why
Yeah.
these ready to runs that have a nice, a nice quality plastic body, that has all the detail. Now all I'd have to do is like, okay, if I want to make it a little rusty, or maybe just put some dents in it, or even just dirty it up and make it look used, worn,
Yeah.
rather than pretty. Um, I could do that. So that's the thing. But I just haven't pulled the trigger, and I should. It's like, I just you use a month's worth of you basically a month's worth of YouTube money, and 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 buy it, I guess.
Well,
It just seems a little frivolous, I guess, but I know I'd enjoy it. I know the kids would enjoy it, and I'd get a video or two
you
out of
say
it.
that, but that's kind of where I've been at. Like it's like yeah, I kind of consider this, but I would consider this, but like, do I really need to be spending the money on that and stuff? Actually, what I usually do is I put it in, like, I've got lists made on Amazon, so I'll put it
Well,
in a
so
list and kind of sort
so
of ways, like maybe someday I'll get it, but
well, that's my deal. But then you wait too long, and then it's like this item is no longer available.
well, that does happen. You know that pickup I showed you today, that's like the fourth or fifth time I've added it to Amazon.
Yeah. Well, um, well, and that's the other thing, is I got the auto part. It's warming up, so I can do those jobs. But I got auto parts I need to buy for the newer car. Just main like I don't want to call it maintenance. It's more like refurbishment. I mean, it's fine, but I'd like to put all new suspension on it and stuff, and just make it drive like new. Um, but and it's like, well, I got I got $500-600 in parts to buy. It's like, well, I should probably do, the responsible thing is I should probably do that first, and then get something like this.
Yeah.
And then of course then I got to allocate the time to customize the body the way I want. But again, that's doesn't necessarily take that long once I'm all set up to.
Yeah.
um, but it'd be fun because, like I said, they play out in the garden there, and make roads anyway. It's like, well, I could just tell him, well, make a road that's at least this wide, and put some hills and some bumps in it, and then we'll drive the truck over it. And then
Yeah,
again, like I
yeah.
said, he's got trailers and stuff, so um we could pull hay bale, round. He's got a bale trailer and the round bales for it, and haul hay bales and stuff like that.
Speaking of that, I saw looking this morning because I did take a look after you and I were talking. There was a Unimog that
Oh yeah, I've seen
they
that one.
they have they had some like fake hay bales put in the back for their stock picture.
Yeah. Well, actually, just and there's tons of brands. I mean, you know better than me, but this FMS has they got a like a VW Beetle, and yeah, like the Unimog deal. They got a military Jeep. They got um a bunch of other things, that couple of versions of that Power Wagon deal that you like, and
Yeah.
they got 6x6s and things. Actually, they got the body's kind of neat. I just don't know why they made it a 6x6, but it's like about a 1956 ish Chevy Apache um, pickup, which
I
which
saw that today. I was like,
which I
what?
almost thought, it's like, oh, I could use that body, and because we have that exact, I mean, it's the medium duty truck, but it's the same cab and everything, but the dump truck, and it's like, oh, I could make like a a, a dump truck, a remote control, like vintage, 50s Chevy dump truck. But yeah, I thought it
Yeah.
was odd they made that body. I've seen like down in that $60 range, these military ones like 6x6s, you know. And actually those
Yeah.
seem kind of cool because even though they'd be a little bit cheaper all the way around, it's like, as a more toy type deal, like Tucker could actually, haul things around with it, and that one could be like his, or what, kind of like I could see him liking that. But yeah, I thought that one was a little odd. Why they didn't just make that a standard?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that whoever was
well,
whoever was sitting
they're
in their room when they were coming up with designs, he said they're like, you know what would make this better? Adding another set of rear
yeah.
wheels.
Well, that's the thing. They already have the chassis for some other model that's like that, so it's like, oh well, we'll just make a new body. I think it's interesting that they got the licensing for the Chevy um trucks, you know. Because there's other ones out there that are the same exact body, but they're not licensed. So they call them something different, and then like on the back tailgate where it would say Chevrolet, they put a sticker with some other name over it. And all you got to do is just peel the sticker off. But usually those ones have like a little bit lesser electronics and stuff in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you finish that. I'll go square this off because
Well, because I've got that. It's a 132nd um RC truck, and I bought that partly because it was so cheap. It was like, I think it was like 25 bucks. The other half of it was it um actually was pretty good for, like all the reviews on it were pretty good for just a mess around truck for $25. And it's a small truck. So it was like, well, I could take it out and play on my patio and stuff. Well, I've been watching all these videos and now I'm just like, I cleaned off my patio. Well, I was raking and stuff. I've been doing that here lately with it being so nice now and stuff. I was like, oh well, now I've got room on my patio that I can go run that. I should get it out and do that. And then it's like, well, then I've got videos like there's one that I definitely need to do, and I haven't done it yet. And it's like, well, I need to get this stuff done.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Even the cheap ones, and like I said, that one of Derek's, which it's a cheapie, but it. I guess maybe my expectations or my needs are low. Is it again? You saw those few videos I made, crawling around in my pond without water in it, the rocks and stuff, and that's a little over its head, its performance level, and but it it worked. It did it, and it did it pretty. Um, it was a challenge, but it wasn't like I had to go and I only got it high centered like once or something, or rolled it like once, but I was able to fairly realistically drive it over some of that, which those rocks wouldn't be necessarily very scale for it
Yeah.
either. So it's like, well, geez, if I, had that's what I keep telling myself. It's like, well, geez, if I had that much fun, you know, with just a little, glorified toy, how, um, I'd probably be more than satisfied with a $140 one. That's
Yeah.
really kind of that actually has some performance. You could slow crawl it. It's got a like a drag brake, so it's got braking for going downhill, which that $60 one really didn't. It kind of, I wouldn't say it definitely freewheeled, but there was no like um drag, I guess. It almost freewheeled, but not like it just rolled down the hill either. Where these other ones, you can actually like you let off the throttle, it'll just stop even if it's on an incline, like as if you had the brakes on. Again, probably talking myself into into it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
and I should because I'll get because gosh, I can not only customize it, I can put stuff, make stuff in the bed and make videos using it, kind of thing, and then just well, and the other thing that's kind of popping into my head is see Moxon. He I think Tom got him well, just a little like like the $20 things you're talking about, RC ones, and they ran those, and then now they I think he might have bought him like a kit, not probably anything high end, but one you had to actually put together, and he put it all
Well,
together. He put it all together by him, pretty much by himself, and so I don't know. He might be in kind of into RCs too, so it's kind of like, well, it'd be fun because he is someone I kind of enjoy it with too.
yeah. Yep.
Now his are more like a that he's run or built more like a buggy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't
And
know
I'm
if you
just not
remember.
into those types, but you know,
I don't know if you remember. You probably don't. But before I had the T Max, actually had like I actually had one of those that you had to build.
I guess I
I think
didn't
it
know
was like
that.
a yeah. That's where I if you remember the straight black body that I had that looked like a Baja truck.
Oh, maybe now I do a little
That's
bit.
where
Yeah.
that's where that came from because I actually um that was actually my first real RC. I bought one of those kits and I did not realize when I bought it how much work that was. It took me a while to build that thing, but and then my soldering what ended up happening was my soldering was not very good, so it didn't stick together. It was it was a lot better. It was a good thing I bought the T Max um because that first one never I can build them, but I can't. I'm just not without some more practice. I'm just not good enough at them.
Well, that's the thing. The last RC I had, of course, growing up, I had the Tyco um vehicles. I had two. I had well, and Jody had one as well, I guess actually. But I had the like the Baja Bandit. It was a pickup, and then I had the what do they call it? The fast tracks, which had tracks, which I didn't really like that one just because well, it had tracks. It wasn't realistic. At least
Yeah,
the Baja truck was a like a pickup, but like like a pre-runner style, and you know,
yeah,
you only got about 10 minutes on a NiCad battery pack, is what those use. I only ever remember getting about 10-15 minutes, and then it took like 6 hours to charge the battery packs. I mean,
yeah,
I had two battery packs, was able to get some time out of it, but it went. I remember those it went pretty fast, and you can jump it, and it could kind of take it, but I mean, I ruined the one. Just I played with it so much, but ruined the gearbox and everything because I ended up taking it through water and mud, and they weren't waterproof. Like, well, that's the other thing. These ones you can handle. They can handle a little bit of
yeah. They're water resistant.
yeah, yeah, right, water resistant.
Well, the ones I always had were the monster truck I had growing up. I remember that one. Was actually a Radio Shack brand.
Oh, I know which one, and those were good quality ones.
And you could get replacement parts because I did lose a couple things off of them. We went to Radio Shack and got the replacement parts
Yep.
for it. But the only thing that I didn't like about it, um, was it just wouldn't go fast enough for me. It's
Well,
like
yeah, but
it doesn't because they're not like these the hobby grade or like the even I don't know. They say, depending on videos you watch, they say these Chinese ones that I've been into lately are hobby grade, but they are and they aren't. They're they're good enough for bashing around with, you know. But it's like, yeah, that thing would never go fast enough for me.
Well, yeah, but it was designed to be more of a monster truck crawler type, not all about speed. Yeah, I know exactly which one, and those were made by a good Japanese company at the time. Those are actually I've looked them up because I remembered it, and it popped in my head, and I like looked up some old Sears or not Sears. Well, they were sold in Sears too, by a different brand, but got me to thinking, and I want to say it was like Tamiya or something, which is still a brand around today
Yep.
makes them, but I want
Well,
to say
they'll even go back and make they have some of the old Tamiya ones that people remember growing up. Not what I'm not these monster truck ones, but there's a very popular van that they actually still sell the kits for.
well,
It's a monster truck van.
well, that's the thing. I had to look it up, and because I found like an old online you can find the old Radio Shack ads and stuff, and I know why I didn't get it because it was a pricey unit. I mean the
Hmm.
Tyco ones weren't cheap either, but um, I guess they were a little more, well, I guess more well known, but
Yeah.
because you could get them at Kmart and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mine came from like Toys R Us because I'm buying it. Same with my remote control boat, which is up on my shelf. It's a Nico or Nico. It's kind of a speedboat type. Even has a little bilge pump, so if water gets in the hole, it'll turn on and.
Huh.
Uh, but and actually, we have this pond over in and playground. Well, actually, it's we walk around it and such. Actually, that's within walking distance of the house, and
Yeah.
sometimes I thing is though is it doesn't have battery packs. You have to put battery like regular. I think it's C cells, and it takes like 10 of them or something.
Huh.
And then like the transmitter takes like four double A's or something like that, or six. I don't know, a
Yeah.
lot, you know. Um, but used to take it over there and run it around there, because it's a decent sized pond, but you can see across it, so and it goes pretty fast. Not like again the actual like hobby boats they make now, but um,
Yeah.
boy, pretty good.
Well, I guess back then, like I always wanted, like I wanted the pricier ones because I always thought they were cooler, but it was probably at the same time, even though I wanted, that's what I wanted. It was probably a good thing I couldn't get them because I would just break them and then I wouldn't be able to use them.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
probably
like
good
that
though that I
monster
got the
truck
ones
one,
that I
I
did.
I want to say like that monster truck one, and this is the late '80s or whatever, uh, when those were popular in Radio Shack. I remember I think seeing the ad, recently looking it up. I want to say they were like $60 or $70, and
Huh?
uh, they weren't cheap. I mean, even the Nyko, or um, woo, uh, that was lag. Why it spun around like that. um, Done with this field? I think so.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, we got to go. I'll go across
Yeah,
the way, I guess.
we need to get this one across the way.
But yeah, I want to say
Hopefully
it was like
we can get
60 or
it done
that
tonight.
monster truck one you're talking about was like $60 or $70, and like the Tyco ones were at $50 or something. I mean, they were cheaper, but not that much cheaper. Nico brands were actually usually the cheapest, but then again, they were always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well, I
was
had a
surprised. So
I had
that'd be a couple hundred, might be like $200 in today's dollars, you know, for inflation.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to take it I can remember doing this. It ran better on our kitchen floor cuz it was linoleum. And I must have had I'd set up some kind of a ramp and I must have had some kind of cars that were somewhat to scale or something, because I can remember hitting the ramp and then I was trying to do like an actual monster truck. So I'd have it going over stuff, and I did that for hours. I just sit there and I just go back and forth with it, and because it was slow enough that you could get it going up the ramp good and get it lined up without much problems. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I was also like growing up. It's like, well, I didn't know what they were, but I knew that I knew there was some out there that were actually faster, because that's what I really wanted. And it's like, well, probably at that age, I probably wouldn't, because those would have been, if you're talking about that being expensive, I mean, even today, how expensive they are. And when you break something, that's because I would have had no concept of, at that time, no concept of it breaking and having to wait and fix it and get the parts for it. And
Yeah. I remember.
I also had another one I got a little later that was it was an RC little buggy. It was actually smaller, and I got it hoping it would go a little bit faster, and I think it did a tinge. Um but I don't remember it being as fun as the truck was.
Well, I remember. See, I just had the Tyco ones, that, and then boat. The two Tyco 9.6 volt one. Um, but I remember, and I remember Tyler Carey had one similar, a Tyco, but he also had like an Indy car, and that thing moved.
Huh.
And I think it was a Radio Shack as well, or came from Radio. I forget exactly. If I looked up an ad, I'd recognize it, but it really went, and not for very long. Now let's see. Jason Morgan had a RC. So, but there was only two channels, so it's like we couldn't. The three of us couldn't run together because.
Yeah.
But we would take turns. But again, we'd make ramps and stuff for that, and those ones would get up and move, especially in high, and they worked. And the good thing is they worked well in gravel and dirt. You didn't have to stick to the driveway. I mean, that's the thing. I even took the tires off and I stuck thumbtacks in mine so I could have ice spikes, so in the wintertime I could drive it in the snow. And that's partly why it. I mean, I had it for years, but that's why it eventually. And I still have it. It's down in the basement, but the gearbox is all shredded. And the body's torn up. I mean, it's not. I mean, they go for money in good shape on eBay, but it's not worth getting rid of. Now my tracks, that one still works, and I even charged the battery. Oh, I guess it's 2 Christmases now, but and got it out again. You only get about 10 minutes of runtime, but it ran just fine. But I never liked it because it wasn't realistic, I guess. I mean, it would go
Yeah.
over a lot of things just with the track because of the tracks. Where like the Baja truck was just 2-wheel drive, not four. And see, that's the other thing with that monster truck that you're talking about. See, it was 4-wheel drive, so it
Yeah.
would crawl over things. But yeah, you're right. It just wasn't very fast.
Well, and thinking about it, that's probably what my whole problem was I think my parents would never let me take it outside. I had to play out with it on the kitchen floor, and I liked playing outside. And we had this big dirt mound in the backyard, and then you had the our driveway was this big long U shape with mud puddles everywhere, and I wanted to go play in all that stuff growing up. It's like, well, so I have this RC and I want to go play outside with it, and they wouldn't let me do it. And I always got the impression, well, it was because um it wouldn't handle outside, and for some reason, I guess maybe part of that was I thought maybe it was because of the speed that it went. It just couldn't handle it. I never really thought about,
Well,
well, maybe they just
but
didn't want me to
the
tear it up.
commercials showed him crawling around outside, you know. But
Well, and that
it's
was
probably good
probably
because if you would have ran it through too much mud, it would have died an early death because it wouldn't have been made for that. But the dirt and
yeah,
everything, the like you're saying, the dirt pile and all that would have been just just fine.
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. I again that Tycho, and it you know it was sort of made for that, but not that hard. But we played with them hard. I mean, and it it took them like I didn't I didn't ever really break anything. Like I said, the the body is just really scuffed up from rolling it and all that kind of stuff. But nothing is like I said, the plastic gears and the gearbox broke, but that's purely because water and it wasn't sealed and plenty of puddles and all that water and grit got in there and then just probably jammed something up and broke them. But
yeah,
if I would have if I would have kept it out of the water or probably more the snow in the wintertime because that's the thing I even well and I and I restored that toy grater, but I ripped drilled out the rivet for the blade that was on my Tonka grater to take it off,
yeah.
and using parts from my erector set, built a mount so I could make a snowplow for it. so so I ruined one toy to put parts on another one.
Yeah. I don't think I ever went that far with things. I was always either I was just playing with the Hot Wheels or the GI Joes, or um I don't know if I took the Star Wars ones outside. I know I took the GI Joes outside.
See, I didn't have any
And
GI
and
Joes ever of my own, but with other people, friends and such. I did we did play with GI Joes, and yeah, they always went outside,
yeah.
and make little forts or and play war essentially.
Well, and that's what I think I would go play on that mound. That's what I would do. And that's why I'm thinking, I probably didn't do that with the Star Wars, because you don't think of,
Well, Star
Star
Wars
Wars,
is
that
in
was
space.
it's yeah, in space. So yeah, it's like I guess by the time Return of the Jedi was out, that had a little bit of a forest area in it, but I don't know if I remember doing that with them. I do with the GI Joes though, in the Hot Wheels.
Yeah, but yeah, it's funny. I never had much for like action figures like GI Joe and stuff. I wasn't I had, when the Ghostbusters toys, I had a might have had all four Ghostbusters, the original release, but then they kind of re-released them with a bunch of gimmicks and stuff, and
Yeah,
just
I
I
remember
just
that.
didn't want that, and I do remember um playing with friends with those and kind of just more or less recreating movie stuff, movie kind of, but um but not never that much, and like I didn't have the Ninja Turtles stuff. I didn't, like I said,
See, I never
played with
even
them
really got into them.
at other friends' house because they were into, well, I mean, I watched the movies, watched the TV show, but I didn't want the toys. Played
Mm.
with them at other people's house or whatever because they had them, they were all it, but didn't have those. I did have although I don't remember playing with it that much, but I did have um, Knight Rider kit, and I had Michael Knight, the action figure, and it was like a quite the size of like a Barbie Corvette or Ferrari, but almost. I mean, it was a huge, and I know it got sold at a garage sale or kind of wish I had that because it was neat because it was a Trans Am, but it was kit.
Yeah,
Um, and I did play with that, but then again, it was like a car to me. I didn't always play with it as kit. I played with it as a car, as a Trans Am. And same with I had a lot of the A Team toys, like the van, for example. Um, and it was all metal and such. Like it was a toy with like my toy tractors. Of course, I played with those more than anything. But
yeah.
so it was just you know that, and I had original Ertl metal General Lee, but it got General Lead. I mean, I replicated the show, and the car ended up like most of those.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Um, and of course I rebought it because it just got trashed, but um, a Nyland semi tractor trailer. Um, that was and I redid it. Tucker now plays with it. Of course, it's already looking pretty worse for wear because he's played with it a lot already.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I can, but yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I didn't. Again, like I said, I played with GI Joes, but it was really only with other friends that have them. I didn't have any, so you know, I had to have whatever the leftover was, whoever nobody wanted, When
Yeah.
and that's the thing, I didn't
Well,
even
and
hardly know the characters' names on GI Joe because I didn't even watch that cartoon. That just it wasn't even no.
well, but see, but I was, you're talking about Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. I never really watched the cartoon for that, and I didn't have any of the toys. Only thing I ever really got into on that was when they came out with the movies. For some
Yeah,
reason that, for some reason the movies interested me when they did I suppose because they were like they were live. They brought the
live
the
action.
characters to life, and yeah. Um, but speaking of ones that you never owned and then you played with everybody else with, um, Thundercats that was mine
Oh
because
yeah,
I never owned any of the toys, and I watched the cartoons for that, and I wanted the toys, but I never got any of the toys. And when I can remember, like, Tony Bennell and Steven Dietz and those guys had it, and we would, at the playground, they would divvy up their toys with whoever wanted to play with
right.
them, and that's the only way that I ever got to play with those kind of toys.
It's funny. I definitely watched Thundercats the show because again, kind of just had to watch whatever was on because you didn't have a lot of choice. But
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody having that I was associated with having the toys. I mean, I remember them on the shelf, but I don't remember that. I I think like, and same with like He-Man, Masters of the Universe. I
I
remember
had those toys.
I didn't have those. I remember people having those, and that was another one that just that, and of course She-Ra or whatever was the girl version.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I don't remember too many people having those or playing with those. Like I said,
We didn't.
I didn't
We
have
didn't
any of the
have the.
turtles, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, played with those. And again, I
I.
had just the four Ghostbusters, but I didn't have Ecto One. I didn't have the Firehouse. None of that stuff. And again, I played with those, but again, kind of just played more like, in a way, like the movie. I mean, kind of did make up my own stories, I think, but mostly, like I said, I just liked, and that's even today when I look at some toys, um, that are, well, like the Cars movies and stuff. They keep just releasing a different version of like either the characters or something. It's like, no, I just want how they looked in the movie.
Yeah.
Standard Lightning McQueen, the standard whatever. I mean, even though I'm not real well. I mean, yes, I played with them because I play with the kids, but you know, and it's not like, and I can tell Tucker's that way too. He doesn't want, because like they have a, well, I guess that's from the third one, but they have like a each version of Lightning McQueen in the third one, because he's muddy in a scene, and then he's got a different wrap on in a scene, and in the end he's you know fabulous one, and they make that version. That's like, I just I just want the regular car.
Yeah.
Like they even have these ones that like they're like McQueen's like a rally car, and I'm like, he was never a rally car in any movie. What is this from? You know? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess there's these little, my first reader type books where he is, but is that what they're doing? What? I don't, but
Yeah. I had the He-Man ones. They even had Castle Grayskull, and I had a lot. I didn't have. I didn't have a lot every toy, but I had a lot of the characters in
oh,
that one.
speaking of Castle Grayskull, and I don't remember who this was, but somebody had that. And was that the thing where it had the microphone and you could talk through it?
Uh-uh.
Well, there was
No.
something, and it would like kind of change your voice. It kind of be echoey. Maybe am I thinking of something else? No, that's got to be
No, I
He-Man and
think
Skeletor. Or
I think that was either a new version or like someone you know it wasn't that's because that's not what I had. No, I don't. I think I know what you're talking about, but no, that's not what I had. There was no speaker to it or anything. It was all just plastic pieces. It had
hmm,
2 levels to it. Um, in the throne moved. There was a there was a dungeon built in, and the throne moved and kind of activated the door, if I remember right, or something like that.
yeah,
So you could have one of them standing on the platform, and then when you move the throne, then they fell.
yeah. I do. I remember something about. I could have swore it had a. I'll tab out. I gotta.
The one I had didn't have anything like that.
Gotta look this up. Let's see. Looking around. I gotta look. I could have swore. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Okay. You're yeah, I mean you're right. It's not Castle Grayskull. I'm confusing. It's which I don't like I said, I don't remember this called Snake Mountain. Yeah, and you talk through the head of this snake and it talked to or it
Uh,
changed your voice, I mean. Yeah. I'm
now
seeing a
I've got to Google this.
yeah, yeah, just uh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, no, I didn't have
it,
that one.
okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's what it
vaguely
was.
remember that.
I was conflating the two, and yeah, Snake Mountain, whatever that is. Again, I barely remember. I don't know any lore of he. That just shows you
Well,
how I.
I don't remember Snake Mountain in any of the series or anything. I remember Grayskull, but
Yeah, yeah, and the snake comes out and whips around. I'm sure there's a video of I just remember the commercial, the kids talking through it, and it kind of echoes your voice a little bit. Yeah, that actually, while I'm out of the game, Radio Shack. Yeah, now they're going to 100. Oh no, here's one. Yeah, it was a Tamiya brand, but one for $850. Yeah, I was trying to find the price. Oh yeah, here we go. Jesus Christ, 99.95. That's
uh,
how much it was in 1987, 88. Yeah, that was yours. Yellow or blue? Okay,
yellow.
yellow. Okay, I mean they were both the same. Yeah, $100. Yeah, those.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't remember who bought it for me for I probably got it for Christmas or my birthday or something. And could have been any number of people that bought it for me.
Now I gotta look up how much because I remember the Taiko
And
was
and
cheaper,
that's
but
probably if it was $100, that's probably why I wasn't allowed to take it outside.
that would be okay. I got to do an inflation calculator. I didn't think they were. I mean, I knew they were. I remember them being. I remember them being expensive, or uh, but I didn't write that. That
See,
would be that'd be two hundred
I
and
didn't
sixty
even
dollars and 75 cents in today's money.
see. I don't remember, and maybe I did ask for an RC. I don't ever remember asking for an RC. Well, and I I I just don't remember ever wanting one or anything like that beforehand, or maybe I did. Maybe I did know enough, but I just know that I couldn't take that one outside. That's probably why.
Probably, yeah. Geez, $100. I mean, yeah. Uh, yeah, they're like, you're not gonna break that one. Trying to find what the
Yeah,
price.
it was probably well. I mean, my guess is if it was that much, it was probably more likely my grandparents. One of my grandparents bought it for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how much the because I know the Tyco was cheaper, but it wasn't. Yeah, I had the um, but I know it wasn't that much. It wasn't cheap either. I want to say it was around $60. I can't seem to find a picture of the ad without digging in.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that would. I'll save this page. I'll send in later or text. Yeah, well, probably answered your question there why I didn't get to go outside.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. This remote control boat. There's actually a story behind that too, because I remember and bought that out at Toys R Us out here, Denver area. Actually, I know exactly which Toys R Us it was. That building is now a Best Buy. Actually, you know, um, you know where the mall is.
Which one?
Southwest Plaza, the one closest to down. That's just kind of down the street.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, it was over just north of that Toys R Us. But anyway, the boat bought one boat that had. I remember it had twin props, so that's how you steer. It didn't have a rudder. Turn
Uh-huh.
one motor on or off. And
Yeah.
we had friends out here who had an indoor pool. So and it was summertime, but or warm out. Got to go
Oh
across
yeah.
um
Yeah. The
the
big
next.
field's the only one left.
Okay. Um. Anyway, it was some warm time. Probably was around thinking wouldn't have been all of us summer. It must have been about Easter.
Yeah.
But anyway, bought it there, or bought this version, and then took it home. And again, the neighbors across the grandparents, cool. So we went over there and playing with it in there, and after not very long, it started functioning, going in circles. Basically, couldn't turn. So took it back to the store and to get another one. And I remember, but before we left, they made him take them out of the box, take it out of the box, put batteries in it, see if it worked, and it didn't. Only one propeller went, gonna go in circles. They opened another one, did the same thing. I swear they opened like 10 of them, brand new out of the box of the boat, um, remote control boat, and they all were essentially broken or defective. Yeah, so I ended up with the one that I have, which is on my shelf, which was a higher again um, higher end model, cost more. Now again, I don't remember, but I just remember it because it was a bigger boat. This one is like a single prop, and it had a rudder. Again, had this bilge pump, and like this thing is, it's like 3 foot No, it's not 3. It's about 2.5. It's at least about 2 foot long. I mean, it's a big boat. You're not
Yeah.
gonna use it in the bathtub. Even the other one was fairly large, but it was about half the size. Anyway, but I think they got a deal because of all the hassle with the other one, and that's why I got what I got. And like I said, it worked good. I'd have to be a calmer day, but go to the lake, go to the beach, and I'd run
Yeah.
there at the lake. I played with it quite a bit. I also have a sailboat, which is kind of neat. It's not remote controlled, as in don't don't control it, but um, what you do is you put a long string on it so you can pull it back in, but you put it out, and the sail will actually like work. And if it's windy, blow along. But then when the wind's not going the right way, it'll turn on the little motor and push it along until it fights itself into the wind, and then it'll. So you can kind of with the string, had to have like 100 foot of string or whatever. You could kind of control this, kind of tack into the wind, wind with it. It was kind of neat too, but I always played with the other one. But that is how I got my remote control boat. Is the one I had before. Again, took it home and it malfunctioned. None of them worked, and so they worked a deal on this better version of it. But the thing is, this thing just ate batteries. I mean, you only got about 15-minute runtime,
Uh-huh.
and again, it took like 8 or 10 C battery. Like now today, where you can like build your own battery packs. What I should do is make a battery pack and put it in there.
Yeah. I brought Derek's tractor and fertilizer, so on the straight, long straight, I hired a worker.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know when you run into him.
Well,
I thought about not telling you. It's because I know you'll notice. You would notice because my name wouldn't pop up in it, but
yeah. Well, and I noticed the money's going down.
yeah, it's like Derek's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is gonna this could take a while. Actually, it didn't. It wasn't so bad. When I was planting, really having. I sat one on that edge. I sat one roughly in the middle, and then I did this uneven edge over here, and just let those two guys go, and just kept working on this edge, and yeah, I got it done pretty quick, like. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess other than that, that's all I've ever been into RCs until, kind of recently. It's been on my mind. Well, over the last year, never got that one.
Yeah.
I hadn't pulled the trigger on
It's
again.
it it
It's
was
like,
about a year and a half ago.
yeah, it's just like, I got better use for that money. But again, I've been thinking about it for a year and a half now, and it's like
Yeah.
I should just do it. I can always make the money back.
Yeah.
But just, I guess part of it just seems frivolous.
Yeah.
Well, actually, speaking of that though, that channel that kind of hooked on the scale model type art. Um, he has done last couple of years, I guess, somewhere not out east or United States. I forget exactly where, but I guess there's a big, you know, RC kind of roundup deal and it's property. Kind of sounds like, like going to one of Jesse's trials, Weeping Water, and they set up, these trails that are and they kind of clear them off, and the trails are scale type of terrain, I guess you could say. They even put little scale buildings and stuff, and then they have like um, street scenes like set up like for drift who are into drifting, and even like long stretches. They're for like the guys that do like RC semis and stuff. They can haul things, and then there's for the rock. And then they got places for the rock crawlers. They got big ramps for those that have those kind of machines where they launch them.
Mm-hmm.
A big gathering, and then all these vendors, stuff like that too. And he kind of has a recap type video on it, and it's pretty neat. I mean, I too far away to think about even. That's what kind of got me, is I can do that kind of thing right in my backyard, and even foothills and in the mountains. That's something we do as a go up in the mountains, bring their trucks and tractors and stuff, and find a place where nobody, and then they just dig around in the rocks. Oh, we walk. Oh, I could bring
Yeah.
RC,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
especially like when me and Tucker went for our last 2 years, we go camping in the pickup. I don't know. That's why it's like more and more I'm thinking and get like 4 batteries so you can run like.
Yeah. Oh, you were gonna tell me about the chickens.
Oh yeah, well we're contact this place where we get them ready, but basically got the coop done and got the run. I have it completely enclosed, like hawks and stuff that down and get them.
Yeah.
And then there are coyotes and fox. Well, camera caught a fox, so
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, pretty much just ready to go. Um, if they're old enough, because I don't kind of like pullets. About ready to start laying, old enough to go out, and I don't want to mess. Used to do that
Yeah.
growing up. That not gonna.
But what started all this? I guess I don't. That's
Just
what's.
we've kind of been talking about it off and on for a couple of years now, just because we always could have them.
Oh.
Just and when we go back there, we always kind of wanted to have our own eggs. And again, like I said, growing up, incubate them and buy the chicks. And one time, Cody took for like 300, had 300 laying hens, 1 dozen a day, more or less give them away. doesn't, as long as you brought the car.
Yeah.
Now that, and then just I mean, yeah, just to have our own eggs. I mean, eggs are not like mostly
Yeah.
just kind of always. Then have now that's one less one thing we don't. Oh, they're old enough, and they something for maybe screw local.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly to have our own farm fresh eggs because pretty pretty easy,
Yeah.
and it's just I mean, there are other people by here.
Uh,
I mean, not a lot of people.
I can't remember if that was Omaha or I don't think it was Kearney, so it might have been Grand Island or something. It was one of those towns. They were trying to decide. I think it was in Omaha actually. Um, someone had chickens, and they were trying to decide if that was considered a pet or if that was supposed to be livestock and not supposed to be in town. And I
Well,
think they
you can't
eventually just said
can't
they
butcher.
just.
You can't butcher here. So, but we
I
but
think they eventually just decided that it was considered a pet, and they because I think what actually happened was I think someone had him, and then the neighbors were upset because well, chickens are chickens and they make chicken noises, and they decided to um throw a fit about uh the noises they make.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure somebody might. I mean, our neighbors, but yeah, we can have up to six. It's you just can't butcher premise.
Yeah.
We're not. And again, we used when my grandma was alive. It's kind of like fishing. I liked fishing, Jeff and stuff, but anything I caught, if we kept, I was here, Jeff, you take it because I don't like. I never liked fish. Same with hunting, and I never did much. Occasionally did with Derek and stuff. Whenever I shot pheasant and such, you know, I would clean it. We would clean, but I hated cleaning them. So I didn't want to really do it for that. Yeah, but no, they're well, I guess you could. You're limited to how. And I remember that when I bought the house, that you just can't have any grazing. So I was like, well, I guess I could have a bucket cage and then just sell it off when you wean it.
Yeah.
Have it roam the yard, But that's why I built it off to that side. It'll be kind of shady for them, and then it's out of the way.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, like I said, my next door neighbor, they don't neighbor to the back. Don't we don't really. They're, I mean, hear them talk, well, yelling sometimes, but then just talking to the dogs. I mean, like
Oh,
literally having conversation, like not just cutesy like you do. I mean, literally, woman, and they must be always getting into. What are you doing? You just made a mess and that and stuff over. I always hear stuff crashing and going over, and their yard's kind of a mess.
huh.
But
I saw um it was this weekend after stream. I saw on Facebook some guy, I guess him and his wife had chickens, and he made a a miniature town out of the roost.
oh yeah, I saw that on Reddit. Yeah,
Well, the
it
one I
reminded
saw,
me of
I mean, I'm
reminded me
sure
of
it
Tiny
probably,
Town, which
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's what I thought it was too, and then I started reading it a little bit more, and then I saw that it was a chicken thing. I wouldn't really call it a pen. They were just roost area. The buildings were. They didn't really have a pin around them or anything
like real
that
life
I could see.
real life chicken.
Yeah. Well, Derek said he texted. I think I don't know if he texted the group that he might have just texted me. Um. Oh, I know. Yes, he just did. He did text just me. He texted me randomly one morning. He wondered if I had a pit bike carb just laying around, and I'm like, no, I got rid of all that stuff. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, I figured, but I thought it wouldn't hurt to ask. And he's like, uh, he goes, well, I've got kind of a story the next time that we farm to tell you guys. And it's like,
Those things are. I mean, I have one. I don't know if it'd be the right size or mounting. That's like
I can only
those are just
my
all
this
those are
is
all over eBay. So it's like just for like $20, like not even a lot of money. Like he should just
my my guess is it's something
that's
that
probably for the go kart.
Aaron, yeah, Aaron's doing for the go kart, but I don't know.
But a pit bike car, hit that got like a twin polar lawnmower. Of
Yeah.
course, That's that's probably what it's for. If I had to just guess without knowing.
Well, that's what I assumed it was for the go-kart, but and then he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "I got a story for you guys when I farm with you guys next." It's like, I'm like, okay. I'm like, but now the weather's getting nicer, so I'm like, well, when is he gonna farm with us next?
Yeah. Well, yeah. When the
Tonight,
days get longer, you can do. He can. Well, and I will stuff out.
yeah,
Actually, well, I'm gonna say because I set up my. We set out on our deck and set up the screen and watch YouTube videos on the deck. My projector, kind of like what he's doing,
yeah,
but it's like no, I can't. My projector doesn't. Well, it technically does, but it wouldn't look. It wouldn't work.
yeah. I been doing more outside this week. I've been working around in the yard a little bit, tinkering a little bit. I bought. I went to Harbor Freight and I bought like a wheel grinder that plug in because I wanted something cheap. I can't remember. It was like $20 or something. I needed something cheap. Um, and it was one of those things. I needed it for this one job, and it would just be nice to have. And if I don't use it again, it's like $20,
Yeah,
whatever. Well, what I had was a stump in a very small, one. It wasn't any bigger than like 4 inches around, but it was sticking up out of the lawn far enough that you could hit it with a mower. And I went I went and bought these. They're a chainsaw wheel for a grinder like that.
yeah, I've seen.
Um, and so that's what I was doing with it. And man, that actually worked really good. I don't know if I would consistently want to like trust not so much the grinder but the wheel um to do more than what I was doing, but man, it really got it did really get after and grinded that thing down that I needed. So, cuz it was out there. It was I not the new mower cuz I got a brand new mower year and a half, 2 years ago. But the mower before that, that's why I don't have that mower anymore, is I accidentally hit that stump. And it screwed up the it didn't screw up the mower, but it screwed up the shaft coming down to the blades. That wasn't the only reason that I had to get rid of that mower, but it didn't help. But anyways, I needed to remove this, so I did that this week. I need to go out there and saw some of the volunteer trees down again. That's a never-ending battle, it seems like.
Yeah, I had that, but that was a little bit backyard.
Well, and I do. It just depends on the year because some years I do really good at them. I really get after them, and then some years like I think last year I just didn't do a very good job of it. And I've got I try to I'll cut down, try to keep the branches down, and then if I'm really good about it, I've got tree killing stuff. So anything that pops up new after I've sawed them down, if I go and do that, spray that, then eventually, because I've killed a bunch of them, but I just don't have them all done. But then I was cleaning up my patio this week. That was where the whole RC thing was coming in because like I was cleaning up the patio this week, and um I think that little RC I have, because I have kind of like it's not anything like what you've got, but it's got it got a little bit of an area to it that has some rocks and stuff in it. And I was like, well, they're not huge or anything. So it's like, well, if I built I could build a little mini track for that that
Yeah.
132nd and run it in there and stuff. Well, I can see the other side, so
Yeah, I was
we're
watching the other way, but because I was like,
with
eh,
three of
blitz,
those.
but I'm kind of like, well, no, we're almost
Yeah,
done with this one. It's like, pick it out, getting later than I normally.
yeah, I
Doesn't
know.
really matter. I mean, I bad again. It's like,
Not with three of us. I don't know what we're gonna do next.
gotta wait for. Oh,
Yeah, I had thought about, but I kind of really want Derek to be here to do that. But I can always set up the field, and if he doesn't show up, we don't have to do it. But I wanted to have him in to do baling whenever. But that's something that can grow, almost year round. So maybe I'll just set that up and set everything aside for it, and um but otherwise, yeah, I don't know what to do next other than we're like 2 or 3 months away from barley harvest. I can tell you here. Um we're 5. No, I'm reading it wrong. 2. We're 2 months away from barley harvest. 5 months away from replanting barley. I guess as I was Yeah, I was looking at it wrong. Yeah, there's the key. Yep. 2 months away. So I mean if nothing else, we could always skip to June, and I set up some different fields for barley. This is all corn here, so I guess we can I can skip us forward to do that. Check.
and finish it up.
What I'll probably do, as little as this is, I will probably just come in like a night, and it'll like tomorrow night or something. It'll probably only take me like 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'll finish it and get everything ready for the next time. Get us all set up so that we're ready to go. Is probably what I'll do. That sounds good to me too. I gotta. I don't know. We'll see.
I was looking at
I
it, it's like,
try to.
oh, but, like we got several more passes.
Yeah. Well, it's about the time I go to bed
Yeah, I guess there's
anyways.
only yeah, there'll be yeah.
So, oh, he was on his way back too.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
him.
he's on top of the hill.
I mean, it's not like there's that much.
Yeah, no, I'll get us. I'll I'll just finish it up one night, and we'll just plan on harvesting, and I'll probably also set up a grass field, because
Okay.
I was thinking about doing that, and just for something different when Derek's in here, because I think uh, doing grass with the three of us
Yeah, well,
would
that's
be kind of
something
fun.
different.